Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and in this vlog I'm going to tell you all about buying a car out of state and trading in your car to a dealer out of state. Alright guys, if you like this kind of video, remember to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends so our channel could grow, and always leave a positive comment below. Hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. All right, so what I'm going to do is I get this question all the time: how do you buy a car out of state? How do you trade in your car to a dealer out of state? So I am going to give you a real world example. Right now we're sitting in my Audi S8, and I'm going to tell you how I found this car in Florida, and I live in New Jersey, and how I traded in my GLA 45 AMG from New Jersey to Florida. And then you can make adjustments based on, you know, where you live and the criteria. So if you're looking for a mainstream car like, I don't know, an M3 or, that's not a mainstream car, but a Camry or an Accord or, you know, a Jeep Cherokee, you probably can find a million to sale, hundreds for sale within 10-20 minutes of your house. So I wanted a very specific car. Say you want an M3 and stick, an Atlantis blue, you know, you might have to search the country to find one. Or you want a Laguna Seca blue E46 M3, you might have to search the country to find one. So what happens if you have a trade-in also? Now, this is not going to work with private sale because obviously they're not taking trade-in, so everything I'm going to tell you in this video is going to have to do with dealing with dealers. So I had narrowed my search essentially to two cars: an Audi S8 or an F10 BMW M5. Now, M5s I could definitely find within driving distance. There were, you know, enough of those cars came up that I could find one I wanted blue. I could find one within a couple hours of my house, whether it was right over the bridge in New York City or let's call it Pennsylvania or Connecticut or Virginia. So everything within driving distance. So I could potentially drive my car there, say, hey, match what the dealer's giving me up here in New Jersey, and let's do the deal. So that's easy enough. So with the Audi S8, I originally found a car near me that I should have bought. It was at a BMW dealer, but it didn't have a warranty, and we were close on price. Sun's coming through here, so I'm going to pull this down. Anyway, the deal didn't work out. They weren't giving me enough on my trade-in or good enough value on the car or whatever. So that didn't work out, so it was back to the drawing board. So now I wanted an S8. After going on the Audi forums and found that obviously these cars can be very expensive to fix out of warranty, and my price range was a first-year car, was a 2013 S8 that now went to the 4-liter twin-turbo V8. Previous to that, they had a detuned engine for the Lamborghini Gallardo, a V10. So all the V10 cars are out of warranty, unless you want a really, really expensive aftermarket warranty that probably doesn't cover enough. It wasn't worth doing it for me. I test drove a 2013 S8, and I fell in love with the car and the engine. So as a daily driver, that was the perfect what I need for my commercial real estate job. I had to start searching the country for it. After going on the forums and found out how unreliable they could be or how expensive they could be. I don't know about unreliable, so we're doing a long-term test here to see. And it just cost big money to fix. So then I narrowed my search even further to Audi CPO cars. So now a CPO for Audi would be 12 months unlimited miles. So that'll be great because I plan on putting 25 to 30,000 miles on this car by itself. So a CPO would be perfect, and I have 12 months where everything is covered. So now I only could search Audi S8s. In my price range would be 2013 cars, possibly 2014 cars. I wanted to be in that 50,000 range and CPO, so it had to be an Audi dealer. So now to search the country, not every single Audi dealer has an Audi S8, and prices are all over the place. I found, you know, some cars were asking 52,000 was probably the lowest, and some dealers were asking 70, 80,000 because the S8 is a rare car. It is a rare car, but it's not worth $20,000 more. And to make the choices even worse is I wanted this Bang & Olufsen stereo system, which is 1,400 watts. And you can tell by the pictures if it has it. If you look in my Audi 5000 mile review, they have silver speakers instead of black speakers. The black is the Bose, and the Bose sound system is pretty good. But once you hear the Bang & Olufsen, and it really doesn't add much, if any, to the resale value, you're better off waiting for a car like this. So essentially, I searched the country, and I found only two cars that were under 60 grand. That was my absolute maximum price range. That were Audi CPO cars, and also had the Bang & Olufsen stereo. So since there were only 2 cars that met that criteria, I had to compromise on color. So originally I wanted black on black. That was the other car I found. And then this one, ice silver with the black interior. So the black one was local to me in driving distance, and it had double the mileage of this car. And not only did it have double the mileage, they wanted $10,000 more. So I think I've said this in the other vlogs about the Audi S8, so you can go through the playlist and watch them. I called the dealer up. I had already searched, gone to my local Audi dealer and looked at some of their cars. I tried to get a test drove the S6. It was good, but remember, it's 400 horsepower instead of 520. The back seat wasn't as roomy as this car. I think the back seat for the S6 to me seems smaller than, say, the equivalent 5 Series. So I would say biggest back seat was the S8, which is only available in short wheelbase, and A8 is 5 inches longer. A8L is 5 inches longer. So in A8 you have a choice of short wheelbase or long wheelbase. You take the L version, which is long wheelbase, you get 5 inches more in length, and that essentially all goes to back seat room. So this car is 202 inches long, and A8L would be 207. So I think as far as the cars I was looking for, S8 had the biggest back seat, then the F10 M5, and then the S6. But by going to an Audi dealer and the BMW dealership that I was looking at the previous S8, I got trade-in values for my GLA 45, and they were both the same price. So when I found the 2 S8s available, now I could go into New York, a state away, to have my car appraised for the S8 that was for sale at that Audi dealer. Should be no big deal because, they're going to want to see it in person the whole bit. With the dealer in Miami where I bought this car, I told him, I said, look, I sent them all pictures, the VIN numbers, they could run the Carfax. It was a clean Carfax. I had all the service records. And I basically, I was technically the original owner. Sent them all the pictures. I said, as long as you match what the Audi and BMW dealers were giving me here, I would do the deal after I negotiated this down. So now the tricky part is going to be getting the right value for your trade-in if you're dealing with a dealer out of state. So I think your best bet is to deal with mainstream dealers. So I wouldn't deal with an eBay dealer. I wouldn't deal with Joe Schmo's exotic cars. I would only deal with name brand dealers, like a real BMW dealer, a real Audi dealer, a real Mercedes dealer, a real Ferrari dealer, a real McLaren dealer, a real Ford dealer, a real Honda dealer. I've shipped a lot of my cars out of state. I bought the Honda S2000 from a Toyota dealer. I've bought many cars out of state, but usually from mainstream dealers, or always from mainstream dealers, so there won't be any issues. All right, so now that we're working with a real dealer, we have to negotiate the price of the car and negotiate the price of the trade-in. So now it's a game. Somebody can give you more money for your trade-in, and then you're not going to get a good deal on the car. So really what you're negotiating is the difference between those two cars. So if I established a value for your trade-in, let's just make up a number. Say you established a value of $30,000 for your trade-in, and if you got that from a couple local dealers, if you're going to buy an out-of-state dealer, assuming you don't think they were playing a game with you, like your trade-in was really worth $25 and they were giving you $30, so instead of getting a $5,000 discount on the new car, you were buying the new car at MSRP. But once you go to a couple different dealers, and you can look up like Kelley Blue Book and Edmunds and trade-in values. Again, those trade-in values are usually overinflated. It'd be very hard to actually get those values when you go to a dealer. You could also, contact some wholesalers or car cash places and just kind of get a barometer of what you're looking to do. Now, New Jersey, if you trade in a car, you get a 7%, sales tax here is 6.625. It used to be 7%. So even if you buy a car out of state, you're actually registering it and paying sales tax in New Jersey. So if I bought a car for $50,000 and traded in my car for $30,000, I would only pay sales tax on the difference, 20 grand. So even if I sold that car for a couple more thousand on my own, the GLA 45, which I certainly could do, I'm giving it back in sales tax. So you know what? If I'm dealing with a mainstream Audi dealer in this case, it probably just makes sense to do the trade-in. Now, the local dealer I called first because that was the easiest thing to do. I know I can drive there, and they wanted $10,000 more. And I told them, I'm getting this. I already looked at an S8 that was at a BMW dealer that sold. This is what it sold for. approximately. You know, this is the price they had given me, so I assume they sold it for the same or maybe even less. This is what the dealer in Miami is advertising, and I think you guys are $10,000 too much. You know, for convenience sake, so I don't have to spend $1,000 shipping my car, work email, $1,000 shipping my car to Florida, and then another $1,000 shipping the S8 up from Florida. You know what, I'll give you $5,000 less than what you're asking, which is really still $5,000 too much, but there is a little convenience there, and it was the exact color I wanted, so I'll pay more for a black car. And the salesman essentially hung up on me. He said, you know, somebody's going to come in here and pay full price. So that car was for sale for a long time, but actually the day after I made that call, they on the internet, they lowered it $3,000. So maybe I got to them a little bit, maybe, that their price was too high. So now I'm stuck with the Miami dealer. And remember, you always want to make it a sense of urgency, and a good car salesman will know that. It would be much more convenient for me to go to a dealer in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut that's driving distance from me than go through the hassle of shipping a car to Florida. So a lot of times if they know you're out of state and you're 1,000 miles away, they will you know, give you a more aggressive offer on the car, kind of maybe not a take it or leave it offer, but they'll give you their best price a lot of times up front, because they know they have to be super competitive for you to go through all that hassle. Now, of course, when they sell you a car, they're not losing money. So no matter what offer they make, even if you say, oh, I got to go through the hassle and shipping, they're not going to give you an offer that where they're losing money on the car. They're still making a profit. So God knows what that guy got on his trade-in, and that's probably why trade-in values are so low, obviously, to accommodate for that. So, you know, basically I told them I needed $4,000 off their asking price for the Audi. I'm sure $2,000 was negotiable in the first place. And essentially the other $2,000 would be for me to pay for the shipping, because it was going to cost me a total of $2,000 to ship the cars both ways, the GLA 45 to them and the Audi S8. So now, like, if you have a good car, I think it's easier to do this transaction. If you have a car that has issues or that has an accident on the Carfax, I think they would give you a real lowball offer. Because I sent them detailed pictures and I had a clean Carfax and I had all the records and I was the original owner, it was much easier to do this. You know, if you had a car with 10 owners, they may not be sure of the condition. You can really make anything looking good in pictures. Just go on eBay or something like that and you'll see that. A clean car is always easier to do this trade-in. Again, you want to do it with a mainstream dealership, because remember, they have a reputation, and what they want to do is do multiple business, not just with you, but obviously with other people. So now the way it worked is, they won't, a dealer's not going to take any liability in shipping, because they're not going to necessarily recommend a shipper and something goes wrong and you're going to blame them. They're not going to pay for the shipping, because, you know, you've heard horror stories. People say they have a great car for a trade-in, and then it turns out to be, you know, a piece of shit or something like that. So they're going to actually want to see the car. So there is some risk. So if you have a shitty car and the transmission is leaking and the clutch is gone, don't spend the money to ship it to them, because they're going to know right away when it comes off, and they're probably going to change the deal. So I noticed that the Audi dealership did not send me, they sent me paperwork, and I put a deposit on the Audi, and then paperwork regarding like shipping the cars and everything, but they didn't actually write up a bill of sale until they saw my trade first. So there's some level of trust here. So again, if you're asking for top dollar for your trade, you know, make sure you represent exactly what it is. If it has, you know, if the tires are falling off, you should tell them that, because you don't want them to unwind the deal once they get the car, and now you're kind of stuck shipping it back. But I was shipping them a real good car. All right, so now the next step would be to arrange shipping. So I called a couple of different shippers. Luckily, one of my friends just shipped a car to Florida, so he said, hey, use my guy, and I did, and they wound up doing a great job. Shipping, you usually get what you pay for, so I wouldn't cheap out. Like the GLA 45, it's not a collectible car. If it got a couple scratches in shipping, it probably doesn't affect the values too much. But I really wanted this S8. It was exactly what I was looking for. You know, I compromised on color. Now that I have the ice silver, I really like it. I want to make sure nothing goes wrong with this transaction, so I shipped it enclosed. I don't want it to get damaged. I've sold lots of cars, and a lot of times people have shipped them open, and I would never in a million years put my car on some of those open trailers that came up to pick up a car, you know? I mean, all the cars got there fine. They never got any damage, but, you know, it's not as protective as covered. Covered probably cost you twice as much, but in this case, it was worth it because I didn't want anything to go wrong. If I shipped it open and say the windshield got cracked or the car got damaged in a hailstorm or something, now the dealer's not going to give it to me on trade or give me a lot less money, and I might wind up paying full boat to get the car shipped back to me. So I arranged shipping. I arranged shipping both ways with the same guy, so we can go there, give them this car, and then take the other one back. Now, there was a delay. They wanted to check out my car for trade-in first before they would release the other car. So I believe my car was picked up. It's about 24 hours of driving from where I live in New Jersey to Miami, Florida. So they picked up my car, I believe, if I remember correctly, on a Thursday night and got there Saturday night. Now, remember, they're not just going there with my car. It was a big trailer with 5 or 6 cars on it, so they're making stops along the way. And obviously weather and stuff like that. The Audi dealership got the car Saturday evening, I think just before they closed. And they texted me, said, yep, the car was exactly what you described. It was in excellent condition. They seemed a little surprised because maybe they've taken trade-ins and they haven't been in excellent condition. Maybe they were just good or fair condition. And then Monday, they sent me all the paperwork and released the car like the next day after I signed it and got whatever I had to get notarized, and obviously got them a check or wired them the money. I forgot how I did it, but then they released the car a couple days later. So you can use the same shipping company, but he's not going to drop one car off and take another car. So he's going to drop it off, and assuming they were based in Florida, I think, these guys. So they were down there anyway. They have a couple days off after they do a big delivery, and then they go with another one. So in that case, it worked out perfect because he could drop it off Saturday, pick it up whatever day it was, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to ship it back to me. And then, if you're buying from a trusted dealer, when the car comes off, it should be in pretty good shape. So I was a little nervous when it came off the carrier, the Audi, and I have a video of it being delivered off the truck, and it was as advertised. So I held up my end of the bargain. They did too. So I think really the key to this is be super honest on the condition of your car if you're trading it in. I would only deal with mainstream dealers unless you know somebody at one of these other dealers or one of your friends has done a trade-in with one of these dealers, because the last thing you want to do is pay $500, $1,000, $1,500 to ship your car somewhere for a trade-in, and then the dealer tries to renege on the deal. Now you really got no leg to stand on. Maybe legally you do, who knows? But you can really be screwed on the deal once they have your car, because what are you going to do? Pay $1,000 to ship it back to you if the deal unwinds for some reason? And if you buy from a mainstream dealer, especially if they have a good reputation, which you can look up, you're probably going to get a good car. Like a CPO car has to meet a certain standard. It can't have paint work. It's got to have original body panels, all that other stuff. So typically you're buying a new car, a good car. So that's how you trade in your car and buy another one out of state. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you have any comments and you've done this before, but maybe you've done it better. Maybe there's some things I totally forgot about, or maybe you've had other issues with shipping a car from out of state, or if you've ever traded one out of state, let me know in the comments below. Remember, guys, to like, share, and subscribe. And how do you not miss a video? You subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time on Glenn's Car Collection.